Okay, this hangout is on air live. Hello, everyone. If you're just coming over from Father's The Break, welcome to Catholic Weekend, the live recording on Holy Saturday. So let me make sure we have all this set up correctly. I think I do. And we'll start with this.
This is SQPN.
Now, let's do that again. Make it a little bit louder.
This is SQPN, the StarQuest Production Network, leading the way.
You're listening to Catholic Weekend, episode number 220 for the week ending Saturday, April 19th, 2014, the end of Holy Week. Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of Catholic Weekend. I'm Captain Jeff in Roswell, Georgia, and joining me this morning from Conyers, Maria Johnson.
Well, good morning. Hello there.
Good morning. How are you?
I have brought my breakfast of champions, a bag of Raisinets and coffee.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Also joining us from the plains of Oklahoma. Oops. That's
me again.
That's you again.
Have I figured out how to bilocate?
Are you in Oklahoma?
You must have got here really fast.
Steve Nelson.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here once again. Thank you for joining us.
And the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
I just couldn't cut that off. And,
That's
well,
right.
I just did. And also joining us from deep in the heart of Texas, San Antonio to be exact, Angela Cialana.
Howdy ho.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
Yeah.
And also joining us this morning, our special guest from the plains of Chicago. No, so in the big Midwest city of Chicago, Sister Ann Flanagan.
She froze.
Oh, she's frozen with
Dramatic silence. Dramatic silence.
She's so shocked that she can't really say a thing. So I think she's coming back.
Oh, here we go.
Right, here I am again. That was scary.
This is your theme music. I don't know if anybody recognizes that. Who knows what that is?
The Flying Nun.
That's it.
Oh.
That was just a guess, wasn't it? Shot in the dark.
I used to watch that show when I was a kid.
I think, Sister, are you still frozen?
No, look at her. She's frozen.
Mortal terror.
In and out.
Uh,
Let me see if I can connect with, maybe on the iPad it'll work better right now. I don't know.
Well, okay. Let's see. Are you on Wi-Fi?
That's right.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, while she takes care of her technical issues, we can start off by, well, first of all saying Happy Holy Saturday to everybody. It is, day 2 in the Easter Triduum, or day 2.5, maybe? I guess
Yeah,
it
by the
started,
time everybody hears this, I'm sure it'll be.
Oh, it's going to be all over by the time anybody. This is the Triduum starts what, Thursday evening for the Mass of the Lord's
Yeah.
Supper, or the
Supper.
Holy Thursday
it's not
night?
exactly 3 whole days. This is actually the 3rd day, I would say. Thursday,
Okay.
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, that makes sense because tonight the vigil for tomorrow, Easter Sunday, is obviously not the Triduum anymore. It's Easter, right?
Happy Easter.
Happy
Yes.
Easter, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, when Sister Ann joins us, she can tell us about all the stuff that's happening in her life, which is a lot, actually. Big changes in her life, and so she'll be able to tell us about that, hopefully, when she hooks up with us again on her
No, try again.
Oh,
Okay.
there we
There
go.
she is. Well, so how are you, sister?
I'm fine. I'm living out of a suitcase until I don't know when. I'm waiting for a visa to be allowed into Great Britain and be there for a year.
Okay.
But I'm in limbo right now. It's a good place to be on Holy Saturday.
Awesome. In limbo.
No, I thought that was
I'm afraid
was,
to.
unsupported dogma. Okay, well, anyway, let everybody that is listening right now. I mean, who listening right now doesn't know who Sister Ann Flanagan is, the nun blogger. But why don't you just in case
I
there's
think y'all
somebody who is a hermit. Can you hear me? Okay.
Y'all are coming in and out for me, but let's.
Okay. Well, tell us about
keep
yourself.
trying. Myself?
Yes.
Native of New Orleans. I've been a daughter of St. Paul for about 35 years and was drawn to the community because of our charism of using communications technology to spread the gospel and serve the church. That totally connected for me as a high school senior. I was like, that is the life for me. And so almost 40 years later, it still is. And I'll be joining our sisters in England for a year and helping them to upgrade their website and get some social media guidelines, coordinate their social media mission, because they've really focused for the past 50 years on graphic arts. They do incredible design work, art art books, art publications, posters, but the other forms of media they're not as conversant with, and so I'll try to help them get started in a concentrated way.
Well, excellent. You know what you could do? You could kind of show them how to do a Google Hangout on air from England, so you can join us when you're over there in the UK.
I lost you a minute.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Hey, sister, if you want, on the if you put your cursor at the top of the window there's the little bandwidth usage icon, perhaps adjusting it to a lower bandwidth.
Right,
might help.
All right, let's try. Yeah, it is up on on HD. Let's try that.
Yeah, that might help.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the picture won't be as nice, but at least we'll be able to hear you, and maybe you'll be able to hear us. Can you hear us better?
Right now it's still a little wobbly.
Okay. Well, that's probably
that's just
my
because
normal
Jeff's
voice.
been drinking.
You know, I have been drinking
You quit anyway.
coffee. I don't want to talk about my quitting alcohol for Lent. I cut down a considerable amount.
I got Spidey. I got Spidey going on.
Do you recognize this, Maria?
I do. Is that from that Catholic board meeting?
Yep, that's what it's from. Takes us back, doesn't it?
It does. That's a play on a catechetical series that we had many years ago called That Catholic Show, which is still out in the world.
And you were the head writer for that, right?
Yeah.
Or one of the writers, or whatever. Producer,
I was.
director.
Being so modest.
I'll take credit for it. I like.
Okay. Sure.
Where's Greg to say
Okay, so let's see here. Who wants to start off with their reflection on their week, this past week that we're just wrapping up here, right before the wonderful, the pinnacle of our liturgical year, which is for many of us tonight at the Easter Vigil Mass. Who wants to start with that?
I think Maria had a story. Oh,
Go ahead, Maria.
Oh, well, I went, I'm alone this weekend until tomorrow evening. Well, maybe tonight my son will come and join me for Mass, and tomorrow my daughter comes in, one of my daughters. But my husband and my oldest daughter are in Miami, so they had booked those flights without looking at the calendar.
Oh.
And they thought that Easter was going to be last Sunday. So.
Well, that's when the Masters is, right? So that's Easter, I think.
If he had looked, he works for an Orthodox Jew, and so he always knows when Easter is because of Passover. So
Except.
He messed up.
Yeah,
So,
it didn't work out that way.
so anyway, so here I am alone. So I have been enjoying everything at the church because I don't have to come home and cook or do anything for anybody. So, so,
Did you
so
have a story?
yesterday, yeah, I did. I went yesterday to. I was just going to do the Stations of the Cross, and I've always gone every year. I think for about 6 or 7 years at our parish, and it's been very rainy in Atlanta and very cold, and so I wasn't tremendously bundled up, but I went and was sitting quietly, and the deacon came up and said, "Well, we will be beginning outside," and I thought, "Oh, okay." I didn't catch the memo that they were doing live stations. And in the pouring, freezing rain, and let me tell you, it looked like those scenes that you see from those epic Philippines stations. Our Hispanic community put on a tremendously moving, amazingly violent Stations of the Cross, and it was a little chaotic because of the rain, and they weren't moving in a circular manner. They were racing across the parking lot and the field, where they were literally dragging Jesus across the mud because of the rain. And it was really it was quite an experience. I don't really think the rain made it any more chaotic, but our pastor, who is new and was not expecting this tradition that the Hispanic community has.
What the what?
Thought that it was going to be a traditional stations where we would pray and kneel and get up and kneel and the whole thing, and then there would be a little performance, and then you would move, very neatly to the next station. And it wasn't like that at all. I mean, we really were the mob that was following Jesus along, and it was impressive.
Yeah, Lynn in the chat room says in the Philippines, Lynn is of a Philippine descent, she said that they sometimes actually nail people to a cross.
Well, they
really nailed them to a cross.
I was almost afraid that was what was happening, because I had noted a couple of things when I had arrived. They put the men on. There's a picture on my blog, but they put the men on trees that they had cut down, and they lifted them up and tacked it in at the bottom to make it steady. Only they were standing and holding onto the cross with some grips that they had set up. But wow, when I heard them hammering, I thought, oh no, really? It was really amazing.
It got your attention, right?
Well, I started weeping like in the first station when they haul him off, because they threw him down the hill, and the guy got hurt. I know he did, and their legs were blue at the end because it was so cold and wet.
Oh gosh!
But so they really suffered that. They really did. It was amazing.
Well, sometimes I think it takes something shocking to kind of shock us out of our normal existence, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I was just reading in Edward Sree's book, Walking with Mary. I was using that for my Holy Week retreat. And he had this comment that he made about how Mary pondered these things in her heart about the Nativity. And it just struck me that because this is a familiar story to us, whether it's the Nativity or the Passion, it gets in my brain like, well, this is how it's supposed to be. And yet as these things were unfolding, as Our Lady is experiencing these things, probably for her the great experience was of disconnect. This is not how things are supposed to be. And that, triggered her pondering. I think she's pondering because, God is being God and stuff. And she's like pondering because this is not how God should be treated. This is not where God should be born. This is not how God's life should unfold. The disconnect, whereas in the way I've absorbed my religious formation was, well, that's how it's supposed to be. And the book is really helping me to not take so many things in the faith for granted. Of course Jesus was going to be condemned and nailed to a cross and, rise again. And nobody knew how the story went. And I think it's good when sometimes things happen that strike us that way. Wait, this is not how it's supposed to go. I found that book. Here it is. Very, very inspiring.
Excellent. Angela, how's your week been?
It's been good. Different from past Triduums, but I'll get to that in a second. But I want to say, Sister Ann was talking about being different and kind of saying, this is not the way things are supposed to be. I was able to present on Wednesday to a young adult group in my parish that actually attracts young adults from different parts of the city, and I presented on the Holy Land because that's one of my, I guess, favorite, specialties to kind of talk about, and part of my ministry full time. And one of the things that I love doing is really showing them that the Passion of Christ probably is not exactly the way that they picture it, not the way things actually happened. And one thing that I really like telling people about is the prison of Jesus that is in Jerusalem. There's a place called St. Peter Gallicantu, and that is the area that is the courtyard of Caiaphas' house, and that's where Peter denied Jesus. That's why it's called Gallicantu, which means the cock crowed, right? And so you go to that place, and then there is inside the church that's built, actually there's ruins of Caiaphas' house there. You see on the floor a big huge hole in the floor, and that actually leads to an underground prison, and that is where Jesus spent Holy Thursday night. So they actually took the prisoner, and it's almost like a cistern, if you can picture like a well. They would tie the chains around secure them around the person's waist, and then lower him down. It's sort of like a maximum security cell in a way, because it's like just lowering this person down into a well. And so when you go over there to as a pilgrim, you can actually, now they've carved stairs down so you can go down into this cell, and there's actually a light that you can turn off and just be in darkness like Jesus as a prisoner. We don't really think about Jesus was a prisoner, he was on death row. We don't really think about that kind of terminology in a way. But yeah, so that's really one of my favorite meditations, to really contemplate Jesus being so lonely, so alone during his passion. But yeah, so that's what I did on Wednesday. It was really, really great, very rewarding. And then Thursday, I wanted to go to Holy Thursday Mass because it's my absolute favorite liturgy, but things just didn't work out. I was supposed to get a ride with someone, and then just a whole bunch of things happened, and I wasn't able to. And I was actually stuck at work for about half an hour waiting for somebody to come pick me up, because my husband and I have one car, and so it was kind of like, it was neat because Holy Thursday is all about the Eucharist, right? And I was like, so sad that I knew I wouldn't be able to spend that time, with the Lord in the Blessed Sacrament. It's one of my favorite, most treasured things about the Triduum every year. So I was like, wait, I work at a place where there's a Eucharistic chapel. So I went, and I was all by myself with Jesus, and that was kind of special. It was really special. So that's just some interesting, different things about the Triduum this year for me, and Holy Week. So special, I guess, surprises from Jesus.
That Holy Thursday Mass, at least at St. Peter Chanel in Roswell, was so cool because they had a full brass section. I mean, like tuba, trombone, trumpets,
Whoa.
and singing the Gloria. Glory to God in the highest. We haven't been singing that at all since this entire Lent. And then the ringing of the Sanctus bells and everything else. Just like just gives me goosebumps just thinking about it right now. Just so beautiful. And then, of course, seeing all the clergy of the parish up, on the sanctuary, and it was a really cool experience.
What about you, Steve?
Well, as usual, I relied on Holy Week to sort of redeem my Lent.
I think a lot of us do that.
Well, like Maria, I've been there's no family around this week, so I jumped into everything I could do. I went to the Chrism Mass on Tuesday, everything on Holy Thursday and Good Friday so far, and yesterday I had a really interesting afternoon. I wanted to go to confession, and I knew the cathedral was going to offer it starting from 1 to 3 o'clock, so 2 hours in the afternoon. And then they were going to have Stations of the Cross afterwards. So my plan was I would run down to the cathedral, I'd go to confession, and then I'd go to my parish for Stations of the Cross. But when I got there were literally 100 people waiting for confession, and which was awesome. But I walked in there and I was a little teed off because my plan wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to. So I'm standing there in line, and I'm like, okay, it's taking like 4 minutes per, and so
One more
I'm
thing.
counting.
One more thing to confess.
Right, and so, but the good thing is the waiting, allowed me to kind of relax about all that, and sort of take in everything that was going on, and just absorb everything that was in the cathedral. The people waiting, and then getting to spend some time and actually looking at the stained glass that's there, because the confessionals at the cathedral, there's one on each side of the transepts of the church. And so the church is the Cathedral of the Holy Family, so all of the stained glass has to do with the Holy Family. And so at one end of the transcript, there's a stained glass window of the Nativity, and at the other transept, it's the Ascension. So you get the beginning and the end of Christ's life on earth in the transept of the church, and it's really it's really something neat to meditate on. And then, so I was the last person who got to go to confession before Stations of the Cross started, and so I'm walking out of the confessional, and I almost literally bump into the bishop as he's getting ready to start Stations. So I got a front row seat for Stations, and so that was perfect to come out of the confessional and then to just immediately begin Stations. So it turned out to be just a terrific afternoon and a great experience and a great way to sort of tie, Good Friday all together.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
It's funny how the little providential things happen when you don't really expect them to, and you have different plans.
Did the priest say, "Let's hurry it up. I got to go. We got Stations."
No, the two priests that were in the confessionals, they stayed until 5 o'clock, and they planned for 2 hours, and they were in there for 4.
Wow, that's a good problem to have. I think are people listening to this call to come back to confession?
I totally
Maybe.
think so, because I know our parish had a parish mission very recently. I think it was like last week, and there were like literally 4 nights where they had confession, and the lines were long. And then we had our parish reconciliation service on Wednesday, and I heard the lines were like 2 hours or whatever. So, I mean, that's a lot of people when you think about just one parish within like a 2-week period, plus the normal times for confession. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. We have sometimes I go down to the monastery just to walk around. Now that spring might be coming up, I go more often just because it's a tranquil place to go and just sit and write or whatever. And there's this one monk, Father Anthony, and he's getting older. He's a lot older, and so he runs not the gift shop, but there's like a little museum of the history of the monastery, and so he's always sitting there, collecting tickets or whatever. And all you ever have to do is ask him if he'll hear your confession, and he has these movable doors. And he goes, "Step into my parlor." And he pushes the door, and he's got 2 chairs set up right behind that partition, ready to go. So he's like on call all the time. So he's who I usually go to, but I happen to have hit confession at our parish just on a regular Saturday not too long ago, 2-3 weeks ago. And I was so delighted to see that there was a line. I actually had to wait. Not 100 people, Steve, but
Well, it was impressive, and I don't know. It's good to have, there's something about having all that company when you go to confession.
Yeah, hey, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
There are other sinners here.
Yeah.
I went last Saturday afternoon after our show, and because my parish has it in the morning on Saturdays and also in the afternoon, and it was really, really, and I got there early, and it was quite a crowd already, and the system, they need to do something about the system there, because there's no line, nobody really knows where the line is and who's next, and I had a feeling, and this is part of the irony of the whole thing, that several of the people that were there on Saturday afternoon were people that I'd never seen before, and were probably making their annual confession or something. I don't know. And there was a lot of buzz going around, a lot of talking and murmuring about the fact that there was only one priest and there were all these people, nobody knows. And I'm thinking to myself, this is really interesting, our human nature, where we're sitting here, we're here to go to our merciful God and ask forgiveness for our sins, and then I hear all this negative chatter, and I'm thinking, wow, we really are messed up, aren't we? So somebody goes off, and it was one of these older people that think that they're using their inside voice, but they're not. So
oh, nice.
and so she comes back and says, I just went to Monsignor Peter and told him that he needs to get some other priests in here. Monsignor Peter is coming. So finally,
With a megaphone, right?
Yeah, it was just like, we can all hear you. So anyway, but the good thing was that it was a big crowd, and it was last Saturday, and I'm thinking, well, maybe because it's the beginning of Holy Week is about to begin, and perhaps that's why there are so many more than there usually are on a Saturday afternoon. But
And that they're aware is a really good sign too. Aware that Holy Week is about to begin, not last minute kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my experience with confession last Saturday.
Well, here in downtown Chicago at St. Peter's, which is kind of the downtown church run by the Franciscans, the other day, I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, they had 4 confessionals going, and all of them had lines at them. They have confessions all day, every day, anyhow. But for Holy Week, they had 4 confessionals. With the two doors on either side of the priest. So it's whatever. A lot of people.
Hey, sister, would you share with us what a typical Holy Week looks like for you? I know you live in community, but just for our listeners, what does that play out like?
Well, our community is a little odd because we're running a bookstore at the same time, so we have to try to arrange our Holy Week around the bookstore, serving people as well as we can, especially the people who are waited till the last minute to get RCIA gifts. So we have to remember to let people know what our hours are going to be. So usually on Holy Thursday we close early, and we did. We closed at 3 o'clock, and try to hope that people won't be too disappointed. And we're closed through Good Friday. So we go on retreat at that point on Holy Thursday. So Holy Thursday we close early. We start our retreat. We have the evening service. I actually escaped from the retreat to go sing at the parish where I'm in the choir at Our Lady of Mount Carmel, because I pray so much better when I can sing well. So we have the evening service in a parish or where we're making the retreat, which happened to be at Mundelein Seminary. Then the retreat continues through Good Friday, and there are services. There's a retreat group that meets at Mundelein, so the community joins those services. I wait until the evening and go sing at Mount Carmel again because, Palestrina and Davitoria, they call my name. Then we have to return home on Friday night so that we can open the bookstore.
Oh,
I guess for today, right? Because
Catholic, what do I get them? And so we're kind of on hand to help people navigate that. A lot of people, they may not be practicing Catholics themselves.
fill in the blank.
Fill in the blanks. They're Buddhist. So
One of these days, Chicago is going to get some bandwidth.
Speaking of Buddhists or whatever the thing is, somebody signed off on a comment on my blog with Namaste. It was this reflection on Holy Week.
Hey, Lynn was asking, Sister was talking about the book that she had been reading this week and reflecting on for her retreat. Does anybody remember what the name of it was?
It's Sri's
Walking with
book.
Mary.
Yeah.
Walking with Mary.
Walking with Mary. Okay.
I have it. I can go find it and show it to you guys.
Is that
I've heard good things about that book.
Is that a
a lot of
Pauline
people.
Sisters book? Publisher?
Is it what?
Her publishing company?
Oh,
Paulist?
I'm not sure.
we can
Anyway.
ask. Yeah.
Okay. Well, while we wait for Sister to come back. Oh, here she is. She's coming back.
I don't know what's going on. Usually I do not have these technical problems.
That's Catholic Weekend.
Well, we always say when a mission activity that we're doing, a book that we're publishing, or a product that we're producing encounters a lot of technical difficulties, it's a sign that it's going to do a lot of good. And so Satan's trying to intervene as often as he can to cause trouble and raise obstacles. So Catholic Weekend on Holy Saturday is possibly destined to do a great deal of good.
For once.
For once. Hey, Sister, can you give us some recommendations for gifts to give new Catholics and old Catholics who need a little bit of I don't know.
Oh, well,
Shoring up.
I actually asked Sister Julia Mary, who's kind of our best book recommender of the Daughters of St. Paul, which is, kind of saying a lot. Sister Julia is down in New Orleans, and I asked her a few weeks ago what she's recommending for people who come in for a gift for a new Catholic, and she said her top recommendation is to get them a daily missal. Because even if they're not going to be going to daily Mass, they have access to the scriptures that the church around the world is reading that day. And, to have it in a nice volume, it already invites you to take the time to spend a bit of your day with the Word of God, kind of in company with the whole church. And I think that's a great idea, frankly. A daily missal, just saying, don't be intimidated, but this will give you. This is your guide to daily prayer with the Bible. You go through this every day, and in a year you've encountered pretty much the most important parts of the whole Bible, and you're praying it with the church. I can't think of anything better, really.
Or if you really want to frustrate somebody, give them the 4-volume
Liturgy
Liturgy
of
of Hours.
You don't want to scare them off.
I don't know why people find that so intimidating.
Because I never know when to turn to what part if I don't have a roadmap.
Once you do it for a little bit, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Because you did it out in the middle of the Pacific.
Yeah, there wasn't much else to do but read.
After
Well,
doing
that's
it for
where-
about 2 or 3 years, you'll have it down.
Yeah, but I think the missal, at least for me, my experience, entering the convent and being given this missal, because this was when the Liturgy of the Hours was first being published in the 1-volume edition, and we didn't have it yet. But the missal was my introduction, really, to how the liturgy is structured. The whole sense of the weeks and the seasons, and that was for me kind of the kiddie pool of liturgy. And so when we got the Liturgy of the Hours, I had a sense of how this whole liturgy thing worked, and I was able to plug the Liturgy of the Hours into that setting. So for me, the missal was my intro to all things liturgical.
Hey,
And then I guess-
sister,
Yes.
Yeah.
when I was in Papua New Guinea, we had a book that was published by Pauline Press in India,
Yes.
and it had the daily readings in it, and then it had a reflection by somebody along with it, and it was it was a book for that year, and then the next year there's a new one. Is there such a thing in the United States like that?
I think there are a few. We usually have them at the beginning of the liturgical year. By now, I don't think we've got any left. Large format paperbacks that are published here in the States that have the readings and reflections. And then there's also the different missalettes, the Magnificat, the Give Us This Day, Living Christ. Those are very helpful too. They're more of a pocket size.
Yeah, this was similar to Magnificat, except some of the additional reading that came along with it may not have been from religious sources, but something that was... Anyway, I just really enjoyed it, and I have not found the similar thing here. It seems like it just came out of India.
There are things. There is especially, I don't remember which publisher, but there is a publisher here in the States that does one every year. But it's a large format book, kind of tall.
Well, thanks. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah.
Of course, I have to wait till November now.
Right. Yeah. Our sisters in India do a lot with interreligious, so they will include even some non-Christian sources as a way of engaging kind of that interreligious dialogue with the scriptures. Because they're living in such a religiously diverse situation. Yeah.
Well, hey, let's take a quick break and remind everybody that if they're interested in helping out the StarQuest Production Network with our efforts in new evangelization, they can do that by heading over to sqpn.com. And if you want to become a friend of SQPN by a monthly donation, you can do that by going over to sqpn.com and look for the donation link, or just go to sqpn.com/donate. Also, it's that time of year, Easter, and the Easter season for buying things for people at Amazon. And if you do that, please visit sqpn.com first, click on the Amazon.com banner, and that way we get some of the proceeds of your purchase. And it doesn't cost you any more, but it does help our efforts at sqpn.com. And if you're one of those people who want to have a blog, like Angela, like Sister Ann, like Steve, like everybody out there, it seems, you can do that by heading over to bluehost.com. But before you go to Bluehost, click on that banner at sqpn.com. It'll really help out our fundraising efforts at the network. So thank you very much for your consideration. What do you think about
What
this?
am I, chopped liver?
Oh, I'm sorry, Maria. My bad.
Forget it.
Well, I didn't want to mention our blog. What do you think of this music? This is free music.
It's Irish.
YouTube.
I dig it.
YouTube's audio library, and I went over there the other day, and I'd heard about this for some time, and I thought, I need to check this out. And this is, for those of us who do podcasts, we're always looking for music that is copyright-free or royalty-free music. And,
Not that ever really matters to us.
Well, some of us do. And then some of us kind of, we kind of push it a little bit. But anyway, you should check out the YouTube audio library, youtube.com/audio library. A lot of great stuff in there, like this one here. I love this one. This one has actually lyrics to it, and it's called "Don't Hate Me." Listen to this. Anyway, you have to listen to the whole thing. But
That's going to be Jeff's new theme song.
I love it. I can't wait till I get some hate mail.
I want
Because I'm going to play this. I'm going to sing it too.
All right, everybody, you know the feedback.
No.
Bring back
I'm not
the airman
inviting
note.
Right,
I
here
want
we go.
till the disco ball pops. Okay.
I don't listen to disco.
Bring back the airman of note. I feel that I need to give you another solo on my saxophone.
Don't hate me because I get attention. It says. Anyway. All right, that's enough of that. Let me turn that off. There we go. Hey, before we continue with the show, we need to give a huge shout out to one of our SQPN community members, and that is Mrs. Barb Gilman, distinguished teacher. Yeah, wait, where's my applause? I got to get the applause in here. Come on, Jeff. Here we go. Oh, it's kind of reserved, isn't it? I need a more enthusiastic applause. Oh, well. Anyway, congratulations to the recipients of the 2014 National Catholic Education Association Awards at the NCEA Convention in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, April 21st through the 24th this week.
Woohoo!
And Miss Barb won Distinguished Teacher, only one Distinguished Teacher, and it's Barb Gilman.
How distinguished.
So, a huge shout out to Barb. And Barb, you got to come back on the show. I think that you've fixed your vacuum cleaner situation. One time I tried to get her on. It was interesting. So anyway, she is just like on the bleeding edge of technology and education, and we're so happy that she is part of our community. We really honor you, Barb, and congratulations again. So,
oh yeah.
Just thought I would say something about that. It's always fun to kind of highlight people that are our good friends and doing great things, like Maria, for instance. She has a fantastic blog called Another Cup of Coffee that I don't ever miss. And the other thing is that she's some kind of like super teacher of the year as well, right? Educator of the century or something?
Whatever. My reign is over. I have passed that problem on, that honor on to somebody else.
Oh. Oh, well. We still love you, though. We really do.
Thanks. My students love me. That's what it counts.
Yeah, that's what counts.
Thanks.
All right. What do we want to talk about next?
Well, let's just wander on down
Or do
that
we
crazy
wanna-
little thing.
You want to dive into the Catholic Weekend Picks of the Week?
Yeah, is it time for
Let's
that
do
already?
it. Let's dive. Ready?
Dive.
Get up against the diving board. Okay, start bouncing. Here we go.
There we go.
Doing a couple twists and turns and flips before we hit the water.
We still need to crank call going.
We do. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Who would raise your hand? Who wants to go first? Okay.
Mr. Potter.
Steve, go first.
Yes, I won. Oh.
Wait a minute. Here we go. Steve.
That was underwhelming.
I've heard that a lot from people.
I was talking about going to confession yesterday, and I remembered some time ago Lisa Hindy had recommended the Confession app on iPhone, and I used that yesterday for the first time, and I tell you, that is an outstanding aid for confession. If you are at all reluctant or fearful about confession and what to do or whatever, get this app. Go through the questions. It does an examination of conscience, and you just check off little things. And so when you walk in there, it just leads you right through. Say this, then say this, then say this. If you're fearful about not saying the right thing or not doing things in the right order or whatever, it's perfect for that. It really does.
Did you walk in with your phone?
I did.
Do you face to face or do you do behind the screen thing?
This one was only had the screen. This particular confessional.
I use it all the time, and it keeps track of when you last did your confession.
Yeah.
Really?
It's a great app.
So how does the priest react to that?
I don't think they would mind one. Well, unless you had a really, maybe an older priest who maybe didn't appreciate the technological assistance. But I've never had anybody. Well, I've only used it the first one time, but I can't imagine anybody really caring because they sit there and they hand out cards to you.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I think probably as long as you just enter the confessional and say, "Hey, Father, I'm not looking on Facebook here. This is my examination of the conscience."
I'd probably
Probably
try
be
to
fine.
sell them on it. Here, make
Here.
sure everybody gets this. This is great.
You know, anything that's going to make it easier for us is going to kind of encourage us to go more often. I think that's a good thing. Unless,
You
of course,
said go more often as the toilet was flushing.
Yeah, somebody's going more often in my house right now. But,
Well, when I was doing campus ministry, you know, students weren't going to confession that often, and we found out it was because they were scared of just that, not knowing what to do. So we made a big poster and put it in the confessionals, like number 1, say this, number 2, number 3, big old, you know, act of contrition. Actually, we gave them like 2 or 3 different versions of it, and it doubled the students that were going to confession because
Wow.
they felt much more at ease.
And how
I think
many young adults, you know, they haven't gone to confession since maybe their first confession or since confirmation, and it's not been a regular part of their practice, and it's very unfamiliar. So that could be very helpful.
Hmm. I remember one of the first things we did with freshmen during our freshman retreat was take them on a tour of the confessional, so they'd know where it was and what it looked like inside, and it wasn't like they were walking into something that was totally unfamiliar to them.
do they chain me to the wall?
Yeah.
Does it hurt? All right, well, that's a good one, Steve. We've had it as a pick in the past, and it's definitely worth mentioning again and again and again. So thank you, sir. Let's see. Maria was frantically waving her hand, her arm. So
What
let's
can
go
I
with
tell you?
Maria.
I haven't decided if I'm speaking to you, but I'll talk to the rest of the group.
Talk to me, Maria. I want to hear from you.
I have a video that's on YouTube. Do you guys know the Soul Pancake videos? You know, the little,
Yes.
little kid president? There's another series that I imagine, I've only seen this one that I'm recommending, that is exploring religion. And there's one on Catholicism that's called Have a Little Faith. And the guy who hosts it goes into this family to interview a convert to Catholicism. And he conducts just the most delightful interview with this young woman and her family. And so I strongly recommend it. It's called Catholicism, Have a Little Faith, and it's put out by the Soul Pancake Group. Interesting.
Cool. Let's see. Now it's up for grabs whether Sister Ann, you want to go next, or
Yes,
Angela.
yes, I do. On Google Plus, I created a Theology of the Body community, and we're almost at 400 members already. And one of the members is a professor of theology at St. Mary's University in Minnesota, and she's going to be coming out with a book really soon called Theology of the Body Extended. And it takes the theology of the body of John Paul II, but applies it kind of, there's a general focus on theology of the body as a theology of marriage, or theology of the married person. And she takes it and looks at the theology of the suffering body, the theology of the dying body. So bringing the theology of the body beyond simply the marital context to what it means to live in the body in all its stages. And what is especially beautiful about this is she's the mother of a special needs child, so she's coming at this from a very real life experience. She posted this week a wonderful thing on her blog, which is tobextended.com, about we have a God who fights for us, and that this idea of Holy Week and especially the Triduum, we have a God who fights for us. She says we've got the warrior language in the Old Testament that she admits she found kind of off-putting and not something she could really identify with. But when one of her students wrote this in an autobiography, the sense of we have a God who fights for us, she said, yeah, we have a God who fights for us like a doctor fights for his patient. We have a God who fights for us, like a father seeking a lost child in the woods, someone who will take every measure to heal us, even to becoming human and dying on the cross. So she's got a beautiful reflection on the cross in this sense in her blog post today. So I'd just like to recommend Theology of the Body Extended as a remarkably insightful source. So tobextended.com for these reflections on Pope John Paul's theology of the body brought to areas where you might not expect it to go. And so that's just something I'd really highly recommend, even though I don't know how to pronounce the author's last name. So look up tobextended.com, and I think you'll be very inspired by that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's a great
Oh,
pick.
yeah. You know, I found Theology of the Body when I was, 21 years old. Pope John Paul started giving those talks, and it just has, my whole life has been following that. That's that whole sense of the law of the gift and the meaning of gift and communion. And to see it being brought into so many different areas is really great.
Speaking of John Paul II, how exciting is it that we're getting so close to the canonization now?
Oh, my
So
goodness.
next weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So, and this isn't my pick, but I started yesterday. Good Friday was the beginning of the Divine Mercy Novena, and totally this year, if you've never done it, this year is the year to start.
True enough.
With John Paul being canonized, and also John the 23rd as well. I mean, they were both such merciful popes, and really, especially John Paul bringing up Saint Faustina to sainthood. I mean, this is the year to do it. So if you've never done it, look it up. The Divine Mercy Novena, awesome.
Is it still Friday somewhere in the world right now?
No, it's not.
No.
I can catch up though, right? I forgot to start it.
With God, 1,000 years are as a day, and a day is as 1,000 years.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. I have Sister Anne's blessing to start the Divine Mercy Novena one day late.
Totally.
It's kind of an apostolic blessing, I think. Okay, go ahead.
Let's make it. May it be so.
Okay, so my pick is a really great blog, and I've been totally bugging Lynn for the past month because I really want this blog to have been my pick, but then I'm like, oh no, I'll put it up another week. But
Airline
finally,
pilot guy.
here is
thank
my.
you. Thank you so much, Angela.
Yeah. Thank you.
Here
I'm
is
so embarrassed.
my,
I'm turning red.
My pick is apriestlife.com. apriest.life.com. And it's the blog of Father Jeff Starkovich, and he's a priest of the Diocese of Lake Charles in Louisiana. And if you've never read his blog before, it's just become one of my favorites. He gives little reflections, usually daily or every other day, just from his life as a priest, and it's just so awesome. I mean, some of the stuff that he brings forward is just like little encounters he has with people, like when he goes to visit an elderly woman at her house and has a conversation with her, and what he learns as a priest through this elderly woman, or what he learns as a priest about God through the children at his parish. So it's just super neat reflections, really short, great thing to start your day with. So apriestlife.com is my pick.
Thank you, Angela, very much. That's a great one. I can't wait to check that out. I now have two. One related to Catholic stuff and one non-Catholic related. And thanks to Sister Anne for making my Catholic pick, which is, you were talking about the Theology of the Body Extended, and that reminded me of one of our SQPN affiliates, Ian Maxwell. He has a beautiful, wonderful podcast called Catholic Laboratory, and he does a very extensive presentations and series on his show, and one of those, which was a few years back, I was surprised. I looked at his podcast catalog, and it started back in 2010, episode number 55. That's Catholic Laboratory, episode number 55, TOB, the Theology of the Bottle.
Whoa!
Okay.
Classic.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
What did you give up for Lent?
Actually, he gave up alcohol.
There we go. There's the crash right there.
That's why it's so sweet.
Or Theology of the Lobotomy, maybe in my Theology of the body.
Gosh, you're a mess.
I am a mess. But anyway, I'm sorry, Ian. I'm taking away from your wonderful series. Several episodes. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 or 9 or 10 episodes, and they're fascinating. Ian goes into so much depth on the theology of the body. Definitely worth listening to. He started in 2010 and ended the thing, looks like oh wait, it goes on even further. It's more than 10 episodes. The conclusion was done almost a year later. So he has quite an extensive podcast collection on the theology of the body, and Ian just does a wonderful job of explaining it all. So it's definitely worth a listen. You got to listen to Ian Maxwell, Catholic Laboratory, especially that series. And he's done so many different series about various things, prehistory and paleontology and archaeology, Egyptology, and all kinds of ologies. All right, so my non-Catholic pick, which was my original pick, which I'm glad I had something more important to pick than this, but here we go. Cook's Illustrated Magazine. I don't know if any of you cook out there, and if you do, if you've ever seen this magazine before. I used to have a subscription to it years ago, the hard copy of it, and just noticed the other day, I'm sure they've had it out for quite some time, they have an iPad version, and it's a very interactive kind of thing. You can find it on the newsstand via iTunes. Cook's Illustrated Magazine. They have a free trial period, which is what I'm doing right now, but it's just it's a wonderful magazine about not only recipes, but the science behind why things are done certain ways.
Ooh, neat.
It's kind of like a Consumer Reports of cooking, I call it. They look at various things like what's that called, a mandolin, the thing that slices things. They did a review of a bunch of different types of mandolins, which one's their pick, and it's just a really cool magazine for kind of gadget geeks like myself. And then it has great cooking tips and great recipes as well. So highly recommended. Cook's Illustrated, the iPad edition, a link in the show notes. And again, if you sign up for the year subscription, they give you like a month trial period. So if you cancel it within that month period, then you don't pay anything. So again, check it out in the show notes. So those are my 2 picks of the week.
Nice.
All right.
And you'll like Ian Maxfield because he goes into the science behind the.
Oh, I kept calling him Maxwell, didn't I?
Well, I was trying to find a nice way to correct it, but
well, you know what I did?
Ordinarily I would just call you out for being a goober.
Yeah, well, that's as soon as you said that, I went, did I say Maxfield or well, Ian Maxwell is actually another guy that has, but he it's not called Catholic Laboratory, it's called Catholic Laboratory, the West version. Please check. I'm sorry, Ian, if you're listening, which I doubt he will be. But if you are listening, I'm sorry I screwed up your name. Ian Maxfield. My bad. But
what
thank
a
you,
fabulous
Maria.
podcast.
I love the way you corrected me. That was great. Very, very gentle.
Yeah, well, I kind of blew it after I said goober.
Well, I am a goober. Who's a goober? Me.
You's
All
a
right.
goober.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, I think it's about time that we end the show, unless there's something else we want to ask Sister Ann, or perhaps Sister Ann wants to say to us before she...
Yes, I have something to say. Because
Okay.
I've been packing out all my stuff and I'm making all kinds of detachments. I have 2.5 pounds of holy cards to give away. So, if anybody wants an assorted holy card, send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. And the bigger the envelope, the bigger the holy cards you'll get. You'll allow me to disperse this collection of holy cards in several languages and possibly learn about shrines to the Blessed Mother that you never heard of in your life. And it should be very culturally interesting. So you can send that to me. Daughters of St. Paul, 172 North Michigan Avenue, 60601. That's Chicago. and send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I'll send you some random holy cards before my visa comes in and I cross the pond for a year.
Sister, that's got to be the best moment in Catholic Weekend.
Hey, help me make these detachments a reality.
Oh, I'm so going to do that. I'm going to send them to the seminarians down in Papua New Guinea. They'd love
Get
it.
them by the pound.
Get him
Yeah,
by only 2.5 pounds.
Sister, you
right.
sound like a holy card addict or something. Like,
Well, this is
help me get over my
37 years
addiction.
of holy cards. I'm keeping the
To the habit.
keeping funeral holy cards. I'm keeping the funeral and the religious profession holy cards, and everything else is going to be going to someone else. So there you go.
That's hilarious.
Mike says in the chat room, sort of a holy card grab bag.
It's what it is. It's go fish, you know.
Well, that is cool. Well, thank you. That's a generous offer, and it helps us out and it helps you out, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Oh, the next time we get together, we could trade. I'll trade you
Oh, that would be
this obscure card for that obscure card. I
Well,
got two
that-
of these.
That might give you something to talk about on another Catholic weekend. What on earth did you get from Sister Anne? You know.
All right. Well, Sister Anne, many people were in the chat room were saying, "Hey, does she have a Twitter ID?" And how else can we learn more about Sister Anne Flanagan? And,
Oh, how
why
good
don't
of you
tell
all.
us?
On Twitter, I am at nunblogger. So nunblogger, one word. That's me on Twitter. You can also read the Nun blog, which is hard to do, but it's romans8v29.blogspot.com, or just Google Nun blog and it'll come up there. And
That'd be the easiest way.
you can also just follow the Daughters of St. Paul in any of our online presences. That's daughtersofstpaul.com or pauline.org. The Daughters of St. Paul are on Twitter, Facebook. We're pretty much everywhere. And I'm also a member of the Daughters of St. Paul Choir, so I invite you to follow our choir on Facebook and be alerted when we come out with some beautiful new music. So the sisters were recording an album in August. I got to do one song, a duet with Sister Julia, and then I had to go to Italy, miss the rest of the recording. And that's really the biggest sacrifice for me in going to England is sacrificing my association with the music for a year. That's a big detachment.
Wow. Sister, the first time I heard you sing was live.
Was it at CNMC?
It was at that first CNMC in Atlanta. You guys were
Oh,
all
wow.
sitting together, and for the closing mass, I was sitting next to you, and I was like, man, I'm never going to sing again after this.
Hey, Sister
That's
Anne,
not
maybe
the reaction you're
That's
supposed to
not
have.
what you're supposed to have.
you and Maria can record a duet, maybe.
Shut up, Jeff.
Maria on
I'll
sax.
sing really loud, don't worry.
So are you going to make us have to go look up that Romans scripture, or can you give us a clue?
I can send it. Maybe let me send it via Twitter to.
No. I mean, what is you? That's
Romans 8 verse 29 is those whom he predestined. He also chose to be conformed to the image of the Son. So it's that whole sense of being conformed to Jesus. Big theme in St. Paul. Big theme for my founder, Blessed James Alberione, and it's actually what we were baptized for. So Romans 8. Verse 29. We're all called by God to be conformed, to be found similar to Jesus. And what better weekend than this to remember that?
Well said. Well said. Well, thank you, Sister. We'll keep you in our thoughts and our prayers for your big journey across the pond. And I'm serious. If you keep in touch with us and if you want to join us at a much better time for you, it'll be sometime in the afternoon over there in the UK on Catholic Weekend. Please do. That would be a lot of fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, so let's plan on doing that. And thanks for joining us this morning before you set off on your big journey. And don't forget, folks,
I'm counting on those prayers.
if you want some of those holy cards, you know what to do. Information will be in the show notes as well. So
Great.
thank you, Sister Anne, for joining us today, and best wishes for
Thank you. It's good hearing from everybody.
your year abroad. Okay, Angela has a wonderful blog, inspiredangela.wordpress.com, and at Inspired Angela on Twitter. What else, Angela?
You took the words out of my mouth, Jeff.
I did, but can you tell us what's happening over there at inspiredangela.wordpress.com?
Well, I'm looking forward to, the Easter season, and I think I'll probably be sharing some things from some news from the Holy Land about, how the Christians celebrate over there, and since my presentation has really been on my brain, the church over there. So, and also, of course, Pope Francis is taking his pilgrimage there in May, so I'm definitely going to be blogging about that.
Wow.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Angela, again, for co-hosting today. Steve, everythingesteban.com. Tell us what's going on.
That is correct, Jeff. Everythingesteban.com.
Tell them
Ding.
what they've won, Johnny. Okay, that's all you want to say?
Well, yes,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
There you go. And
I'm not
let's
sure
see-
what you were asking. I post a lot
I'm
of
just going to
photos over
say,
there.
if you wanted to tell people, give people a reason to head over to everythingesteban.com. By the way, did you get a response at all for people signing up for your notification for email notification for your blog posts?
I haven't checked that. I don't get a notification when they sign up. I just have to go and look.
Okay.
So I had forgotten to do that. I will do that. I'll have an answer for you next time.
I'll bet at least one or two,
Johnny.
probably. Thanks, Steve. Maria, do you
Go
have
ahead. This is your moment of redemption. Go.
Do you have a blog? Is there anywhere we could go to hear more beautiful ideas and poetry and stuff about your dog Otis?
Nothing. Otis is consuming my life these days. I'm all by myself with Otis. Yes,
Otis-
go read my blog. Actually, I posted a picture of the live crucifixion yesterday. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
my
We'll
blog.
have to check that out.
Yeah.
At
BagoJohnson.com.
BagoJohnson.com, which is where you'd find a wonderful, probably my favorite blog, Another
Oh,
Cup
you
of Coffee.
liar. It's
When I
certainly
think-
a
When I
hodgepodge.
think of blogs, I think Another Cup of Coffee.
Uh.
BagoJohnson.com.
More. You know, when I was a little
Okay.
kid and I'd see the Pope going like this, I used to think he wanted more applause.
He did.
Anyway, follow me on Twitter. That's where I seem to be hanging out these days.
Okay.
At Bago.
Very good. Well, thank you, Maria, again. And everybody, let's see, I'm the airline pilot guy. I'm an airline pilot. I do a thing about flying and airline stuff called Airline Pilot Guy. And you can find all that information at airlinepilotguy.com. And finally, I hope everyone really, really takes advantage of what our beautiful church has to offer, and which I believe tonight is the most beautiful Mass of the entire liturgical year, the Easter Vigil Mass. Please check it out at your local parish. It's a wonderful time where it's a very rich liturgy, and it's a time when people who have been studying to come into the Catholic Church come in. I mean, a majority of the people that come into the church is tonight at the Easter Vigil Mass. It's a very special time. So
Let's remember to be kind to our once-a-year visitors
yeah,
who are going
that's
to be
true.
shoulder to shoulder in the pew with you. Give them a helping hand with all those new Mass parts that people are still learning.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. You know, it's so easy to kind of like get that attitude like, oh, okay, you show up for Easter and you show up for Christmas, you know. But it's not really the right attitude to have, and thank you for reminding us of that, Steve.
Well, it takes a little patience when you go to a 3-hour Easter Vigil.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, and then enjoy Easter Sunday.
And be kind in the parking lot.
And the parking lot, make sure you park your car so that it faces outward, so you can make a quick. Seriously, when I'm a Catholic convert, Saint Anne. Well, I'm pushing things, aren't I? Who knows, right? But I thought that that's what you had to do as a Catholic, is that's the way you're supposed to park. You know, you back into the parking place.
So you can get out, huh?
Because that's what it seems like most of the people at the parish I was going to at the time coming into the church did. Anyway, so have a wonderful Easter, and Easter time with family, etc., Easter dinner and all that kind of good stuff. And don't forget the Divine Mercy Novena, which started yesterday. It's not too late, according to St. Anne. And, probably time for me now to just shut up and just get going so you can get on with your Holy Week celebration. So take care and God bless. That's it.
Awesome.
Yay.
We did it.
We did it again. You know what? This is I love the way this worked out this year. Catholic weekends on Saturday mornings, and it happened to coincide with Holy Saturday this year.
Yeah.
It does that every year, Jeff.
Oh.
Wait, were you being serious, Jeff?
Yes,
No,
he
I
was.
not being, no, I was not being serious.
Okay.
I thought of that in the shower this morning before I set all this up. I thought that'd be funny to say.
I'm glad I could add the punchline.
And leave it. Yeah, thank you. I threw up a huge softball for you, Steve, and I'm glad that you got it out of the park. And Angela, I'm a little disappointed in you,
Why?
thinking that I really did think it was serious about that.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that deadpan thing, I'm still not catching on to your deadpan
Okay,
face.
that sarcasm thing. Okay.
Best straight
Sister
man in the universe is Steve.
So, Sister Ann, what did you do to finally stay with us? Did you adjust your settings or what?
I just set it to audio only.
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah, so.
That's a beautiful picture, by the way. The picture that's showing up every time you're
Oh,
speaking.
thank you. A sister who's stationed in England took that when she was visiting her family here in Chicago. I said, I need a headshot. Can you do a couple? So I just pretended I was a model, and I did the hip thrust thing. She took multiple shots. It was like my own private little modeling session.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you have any with the veil flying?
No, the veil didn't fly. You know, I should have gone out for that in the wind. You know.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, the intro music that Jeff used.
Oh my gracious! I did not hear that. Oh.
That was your theme music, the flying nuns.
I hope to be a flying nun before too long.
One of those habit. What's the hat called? The
cornet, the one that the Daughters of Charity used to wear. I think it was called a cornet.
Yeah, the one that Sally Field
Yeah.
wore. Sally Field or Fields? I always get confused.
Field.
Who
Sally
cares?
Field.
Yeah,
Isn't Sally Field like the cookie lady or something?
No, that's Mrs. Fields.
Mrs.
Oh,
Fields.
Mrs.
See, and I
Fields.
had a good friend named Ken Fields, and so I always get confused when I say
I have a friend named Ian Maxfield.
Oh, I'll go back there and just edit every time I said Maxwell. But Max Field. Field.
You know,
It won't be
Sister,
obvious at all.
I don't know, Sister. I don't know if you'd be interested in making contact with Sean McCartney and Ian Maxfield because they're plugged into some sort of interdiocesan Catholic media work.
Oh yeah, that would be really neat.
I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know they work together. And Sean lives in near London, and Ian lives near Edinburgh.
Oh, okay.
So, but there's some sort of interdiocesan work that they do.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. They're both part of SQPN, so I'm sure we can get you their email addresses.
Okay. Yeah, that would be fabulous. I think wasn't Ian at one of the CNMCs early
Yeah.
on?
He was the one in Kansas City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember him. Yeah.
Really tall guy.
I don't remember the detail. I remember the accent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
should
very
jot that
good.
down.
Well, thank you
Wonderful.
for taking out some time out of your Saturday morning and your busy schedule, sister.
Oh, a real delight, honest. And now I'm going to go and hard boil some eggs because one of my favorite things to do is have pretty colored eggs for Easter.
Oh, awesome.
Really? I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And I a few weeks ago I bought some fancy eggs at the nearby gourmet grocery because we were completely out of eggs. And the dozen eggs came in this clear plastic case. And I saved it so I can put the Easter eggs in it. And it'll be all these multiple colored eggs in its own little colored egg carton in the fridge. And it's going to surprise all the sisters.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So we have some stuff to, and a friend of mine brought me to Mario Batali's Italy the other day, and we got an Italian Easter cake, a colomba. It's shaped like a dove, and it's kind of the traditional Easter breakfast. So we've got that too. But,
Oh, wow.
Cool.
You guys are a bunch of foodies. I see your prep.
They are.
there's a few of us, and Sister Helena, she's a closet foodie. She doesn't like to admit that she's interested in food. She pretends she's not. And then she goes to these conventions, and she comes back and tells me in great detail, oh, Sister Ann, you would have loved, they had this and this and this, and then after that they had this. I'm like, yeah, you're not a foodie,
Hey, sister, you should really check out my pick of the week, Cooks Illustrated.
I want to. I wrote it down.
Yeah, really do. I think you'd really love it.
I think I would, and I'm trying to stock all my, the e-readers and everything before I go, because I understand that because of, the international rights and stuff, I might not be able to buy books on the Kindle, on Amazon.
Mm.
Do they have? What are those region lock? What is it called? Region locks or?
I don't know, but some of the books simply can't. They can only be sold in the United States because that's the publisher only got a U.S. copyright for it, and they didn't get the international. And when we get books, we always have to know if we've got how many rights. Do we have world rights or do we only have North American rights? It's very, very tricky for us as an international congregation. Yeah, so I got to stock up. If you want to put a few more book recommendations online, I'll take those too.
Hey, did you guys read Longenecker's book, Father Dwight's book?
No, we had it in.
It's fantastic.
I've read about a third of it, and then I forgot that I still need to finish reading it.
That's like me, and I've been in the middle of Pope Francis's Open Mind, Faithful Heart, which are the retreat sermons that he gave as cardinal. And this week, or last week actually, I was reading one. It was about the cross and mission, and how the presence of the cross is a sign that this mission really is from the Holy Spirit, and that's when all these things started happening with my visa, and I'm like, oh great. And then at choir practice on Thursday, one of the sopranos said, "Oh sister, I have something for you. My neighbor is moving," and I was helping her, and then she hands me a cross made out of nails.
Oh yeah.
So she hands me this cross. I was like, God, you're not being subtle, All right, I get it.
I keep expecting to get the memo that delineates everything out to me, but I guess.
You may want to check this out. Sister Lynn in the chat room mentions that you can get a VPN, a virtual private network connection, and it kind of tunnels
I looked
and ends up coming up in the United States, and so
I looked that up, but this past year the Supreme Court said that using like kind of a proxy address to bypass copyright limitations is against the law.
What do they know?
Oh wow. Didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as tied into publishing as you are.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. If it was just me, I would do it.
Yeah.
But where we come, we're actually bringing our whole congregation in.
Oh, I didn't mean for you guys to,
No, but because I don't actually, it's not like
You don't own the
I
thing
wouldn't
yourself.
be liable as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I should mention to all the audience members, if anybody out there has a subscription to HBO, give me your username and password, please, so I can watch Silicon Valley. Thank you. Yeah, I'm serious.
Oh, Jeff, I haven't answered your question about my email subscribers.
Yes.
I have 26 of them, and 2 of them have come in the last week, and you're one of them.
That is
Wow,
rich.
so it had a much larger effect than I thought.
50%.
One new person besides you, Jeff.
Do I follow you? I don't know that because I just go look at you. At your God, that sounded weird.
I wish I'd been recording this.
I just look at you.
Because I'm not. Stalker.
No, it doesn't look like you're one of them.
Stalker.
No, you follow me on Twitter. That's probably how you. See
Well,
me,
I
right?
have you on a bookmark, so I just go to.
The way I work, I'm not in that habit that you all are of like going to all these different blogs, and if I see something in my email,
I just use an RSS reader.
yeah, I don't
use
even go. I
Feedly.
forget to go to the RSS
Yeah, that's
reader.
what I use.
So I don't even think about going to the RSS reader, and so when I see it in my email, I go, oh, there's a new post on Everything Esteban about the monument picture that you are the contest that you're participating in, and so then I click on that, and then I go to your blog and look at it, and etc. So that's
Did you like my picture of a monument as a tree?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a monument to the tree of life.
Well, I try those challenges. I try to do something besides what's expected.
Yeah, like a big monolithic.
Yeah, it makes it a challenge. And this week's is going to be a challenge. Really a challenge. I don't know what to do with it.
What's the new one? I had intended to go out yesterday, but it was raining so much. I knew exactly what I wanted to do for the monument. I still might do it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing it later. No, this week is on top, whatever that means.
Top.
On top.
Huh.
I'm on the top of the world.
So you can define that in different ways.
Just a compendium of 70s tragic music. Really.
Yeah. If you keep playing
Disco
disco,
balls.
Jeff.
Compliment I've received sometime.
If you keep playing disco, Jeff, we're gonna have a problem. I'm trying to purge the 70s.
Subscribers.
Oh,
Hey, I was a disco babe.
Did you have roller skates?
I did. I
Did you-
could skate like a beast on the quads.
I liked disco.
I did
That
too.
was a fun time in my life in the 70s.
Yeah. Me too. My grandmother was a seamstress, so I had a flowing disco dress for the spins and the stuff. And
Mm.
wow.
Part of the reason why I have this thing against disco is I was my job in high school was working at the movie theater, and when Saturday Night Fever came out, I had to hear that 3 times a night for about 6 weeks. And
Whoa.
I worked at a movie theater, and guess what was the movie going on at the time? Saturday Night Fever.
really, I dated boys that looked like that and danced like that.
You married one.
Yes, I did. Only he was blonde back then.
Oh, I thought you meant blind. I thought, no wonder. That explains a lot.
Oh, shut up.
Jeff.
You know what? I am going to. Can I share a picture? I think I can probably find it on Facebook. John back then. Our disco days. He lied to me. He tricked me into marrying him because I thought he liked to dance. Our last dance was at our wedding. Our first dance. He goes, I got you now. I don't like to dance.
Let me tell you a secret about men.
Yeah, I think I got
We
that
will
about
do
him.
and say a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
Never trust us.
He made no bones about that. He goes, "Oh, I hate dancing. You liked it, so that's what I did."
So what are Easter plans? I'm going to the vigil tonight at the cathedral, and then tomorrow I'm going to a baptism, which I think is just awesome to go to on Easter Sunday.
Wow, I've never heard of a
cool.
baptism on Easter Sunday. Huh.
It's the little brother of my 3-year-old goddaughter,
Oh.
so it's gonna be fun.
Oh.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. I'm going to the vigil tonight. Maybe my son and his girlfriend will join me. Maybe not. I'm not cooking for them, so we're probably going to go to the Waffle House afterwards.
Oh, good.
Do they stay open
It
on
really does sound good.
on Easter?
Well, you know,
They're
there's
open
a
365,
beloved
right?
priest. Yeah. There was a beloved priest that when I worked at the church many years ago, I worked in youth ministry, and he was already older and infirm, and he would walk over from the rectory and just sit on the couch outside in the office area, and he would pray and just be available for confessions throughout the day, and during the summer, sometimes I would bring one kid with me to work if I was only going in for a couple of hours, and my son often wanted to come because he would play with Father.
Oh.
And they would play baseball. Father would sit at the on the couch, and Jonathan would ball up paper balls, and he would play baseball with his cane. And
This is
his
for my
tradition
typers.
was to go to Waffle House. Yeah, he always wanted to go to Waffle House. So he passed away several years ago, and the kids are still like after the vigil. You know, even when they went off to college, they'd come home and say, "Oh, we got to go remember Father and go to Waffle House afterwards."
Well, I'm off to the cemetery this afternoon to decorate.
Decorate at the cemetery?
Put flowers on the graves. That's
Uh,
we usually do it either Memorial Day or Easter, depending on when it falls.
Oh.
Because
This
the
is
for
wind
my
does
typers.
come swooping through the plains, and they don't last all that long. They get carried off.
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're just ignoring you, Jeff.
Rattlers just pretending. We gotta
Makes
do
me
that.
feel right at home.
Well,
Mike Kuipers.
I'm running off to the kitchen. I will see everybody online
sister.
sometime.
Okay.
Great
All right.
talking to y'all.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Easter.
Blessed
Bye-bye.
Easter.
Same to you.
Too.
Thanks.
Well, maybe it's time for all of us to get on with our Easter,
To
our
bug
Holy
out.
Saturday Easter Vigil.
To bug
right.
out.
Well, hey, everybody in the chat room, thanks for, again, hanging out with us today. And hope everybody has a blessed Easter. And stay alive.
Stay in line.
This takes me back to my high school prom. I really regret growing up during the disco era.
You can't really regret it. I mean,
Well, I mean,
you didn't really have
know,
a choice, so did you?
I mean, there was like great music before, and there was great music after, and then there was
The
disco in the
70s.
middle.
You gotta love it all. Come on. You gotta love it all.
Well, if you ever saw my prom pictures, you would just shake your head.
Tell me, did you wear beige or did you wear light blue?
I wore a light blue 3-piece vested suit.
Nice. I
Uh,
love it.
yeah, leisure suit. I actually had a tuxedo that was light blue.
Oh, frilly one, huh?
Yeah.
with the thing,
With the pirate shirt?
John wore beige.
And one year I had
John
like a
wore-
light brown one too.
The only thing I didn't do is I didn't wear the platform shoes, and I didn't perm my hair like all the other guys in high school did then.
Yeah, I didn't perm my hair, but I did have long hair. I'm sure you've seen pictures of me with my.
Well, how about this atrocity? I have curly hair, and I permed my hair.
Made it even curlier.
That's amazing. Curly hair.
Yeah, you did. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not.
Go ahead. What? Say it.
You know what popped into my head was
What?
a Cupid doll.
And with that, it's time to stop the broadcast before it just goes way off the cliff. Well, everybody, thank you, friends, for joining the gang this morning, and hope everybody has a great Holy Saturday and Easter Sunday. So I'm going to stop the broadcast right now. So take care and God bless.